Whoa, that was quite a landing. Before breaking the atmosphere, you saw a planet consisting of several continents, each with different people and cultures. Of course, we landed in America, and we speak American, so why bother worrying about those other people? When you were looking at Earth from space, you had a worldview, or you had a physical worldview, but that doesn't translate necessarily to an intellectual worldview. So let's work on developing a global mindset. Kokeshi dolls are one of the most recognizable aspects of Japanese culture. Possibly an even more prolific element of Japanese culture is the kimono. Kimono is a long robe with wide sleeves, traditionally worn at weddings, funerals, festivals, and other occasions. To many Americans, Kokeshi dolls and kimonos are simply toys and clothes that have no further meaning. To their people, however, these objects are anything but one-dimensional. The kimono, for example, is often seen as a symbol of longevity and good fortune. Unfortunately, as Americans, many of us may see kimonos as unnecessary and weird, especially for men to wear. I'm even ashamed to say that from my own personal experience wearing a kimono, I was embarrassed to wear such a beautiful part of Japan's culture. This ignorant attitude and cultural dissonance is exactly what a global mindset aims to expel. In 2015, my family traveled to Japan and stayed there for a month. While there, I participated in a kimono fashion show. At the time, I thought very little of the kimono. If anything, I was embarrassed to be wearing something that I thought to be girly. It wasn't even until making this video that I decided to look up the possible hidden meanings behind the kimono and its effect on Japanese culture. Educating myself in parts of Japanese culture, even things as simple as kokeshi dolls and kimono robes, is a step towards opening my eyes, even on base level, to other people. Opening your eyes, in conjunction with opening your heart, your mind, and your hands, are the main steps in adopting a global mindset. Adopting a global mindset is the main goal of the Honors Global Challenge. After opening your eyes, the next step is generally to open your mind. This can be done in several ways, but an important step in the process is to first close your mind off to blockades that may distort your thought process on foreign lands, their people, and their practices. One of these distortions commonly found in America is an overly exerted pride and sense of nationalism. As we learned in the TED Talk by Angela Zhao, America has such a strong national pride that it constantly pushes its beliefs and culture onto other countries because we see ourselves in a position of superiority. One of the examples of closed-mindedness that Zhao uses is the problem with Americans referring to all Asian people simply as Chinese. The problem here, of course, lies in the millions of identities that are being lost. Not only are the non-Chinese Asian cultures being ignored, each individual across the continent is going insane as well. Even the Chinese people aren't all the same as one another. Even if you strive to respect and acknowledge people and cultures that are different from you, you may still suffer from a subconscious, immediate judgment habit. This is often the effect of upbringing or the environment around you, no matter how much you believe yourself to be removed from it. A personal example of mine is with Mexican culture. I wasn't ever raised to think Mexicans, illegal Mexicans in particular, were awful creatures. However, subconsciously I saw them as stone-cold criminals, which may be due to the environment that is America. My freshman year in high school, I began working at a Mexican restaurant with a staff of around 70% illegal aliens. I worked with them throughout all of high school and grew bonds with them that are unbreakable. In the many conversations I had over the years, I came to learn that every situation has the potential for sympathy and understanding, even in the case of crossing the border illegally. Many of my friends had scenarios in which they had nearly no other choice but to enter the States, and there was no possibility for them to do it legally. I opened my mind to these people in order to understand their minds, and it gave me a far greater respect and compassion for not only them and their situations, but their nation as a whole. One of the TED Talks that touched on the subject of subconscious stereotypes was a speech by Lee Moon-Hwa. Lee spoke about his adopted Guatemalan son. When he was younger, he looked very Asian, and people often complimented his intellectual skills. Upon learning that he was actually Guatemalan, it became practice for people to then compliment his soccer playing ability. This sort of stereotyping is one of the greatest roadblocks we, as Americans, build ourselves that make us fall short of achieving a global mindset. When we make these predetermined judgments of character on people based simply on their ethnicity, we don't even give them a fraction of a chance. Once you have opened your mind, heart, and eyes to other people and their culture, you can make an impact on them by opening your hands as well. You can do this either to help them if they are a struggling group of people or simply to show them care. A way that opening your hands was exemplified in class was the speech by John Paul Plintoff. John Paul grew plants in his yard and would often pawn off excess seedlings to his neighbors. This gave John Paul the ability not only to meet his neighbors, but also to provide a common ground for his neighborhood to come together in the goal of helping the environment. Although this isn't a different culture that he's working with, it shows a way that we could open our hands and take action. A way that we as a class will open our hands is the Ecuador trip. While there, we will be volunteering in village factories. Of course, this will also open our eyes as we will be shown the daily lives of village people in Ecuador. It is opening our hands in the sense that we are helping ease their workload and putting ourselves in their shoes. Aside from the building of a global mindset, the global challenge has provided many outlets for the foundations of a successful future in the business environment anywhere in the world. The trip to Mobile provided amazing insight and inspiration for my future personally. I had become increasingly interested in logistics and supply chain management up to that point, and the tours we took while on the trip were very helpful in realizing my eagerness to get into that type of field. I thoroughly enjoyed the tour of the Airbus facility. Although aviation is not a field I'm interested in, it offered a scope of the industry as a whole. I enjoyed the tour of the Mobile port even more, though. Seeing the several components of the entire system working together was very interesting to me. While participating in the social gathering at the end of the day, I talked to the vice president of the TMC Logistics Company for a good bit of time. My conversation with him ranged from the purpose of his company to what he looks for most in an employee or intern. One of the things he reiterated time and time again was the importance of certifications and knowledge in programs often used in the industry, such as Excel. Another priceless source of information and professional insight was the speaker from Goldman Sachs. It's no surprise that a man working for one of the most successful financial corporations could be of service to a group of business majors. This company in particular, I was eager to learn more about. I had known a good bit about Goldman Sachs prior to his presentation, as I have always been interested in the stock market. As silly as it may sound, on my tour at Troy, the stock tickers in the lobby of Lewis Hall were one of the main things that caught my attention in terms of the business school. As much as the speaker provided in terms of work ethic and professionalism, he also referenced a childhood habit for us to use in life. He explained how his father used to tell him to do 100 push-ups a day. If you do 100 push-ups a day, you will end up doing 3,000 push-ups a month. In the same sense, if you meet 3 people a day, you will meet 90 people in a month. That is a lot of networking depth, which is an essential tool for success in the business world. In conclusion, the Global Challenge class has truly challenged me, as the name would suggest. I have been challenged to critically think about myself and to critically think about the way I see the world and how I change the world around me. Trips such as the ones to Ecuador and Mobile provide experiences and opportunities to grow my knowledge in the world of business. I've learned that when it comes to the world of business, you truly cannot put a number on the value of effective networking. In fact, each successful person that I've met by means of networking has continuously reiterated to me the value and the importance of networking. I will take the lessons I've learned from speakers, videos, the book, and the several trips to excel past the borders of the United States and to become a globally sound citizen and professional of the world.